Adult Library Program. My name is Laurie Osseck, and for the next 20 minutes or so, I want you to pretend that I am your own personal park ranger, because I am going to be presenting a virtual tour of America's national parks. Can you believe the United States has 62 national parks, each one very unique and diverse? Some have rock formations and mountains, while others boast valleys and forests, waterfalls and deserts. And because of their beauty, it's easy to see why most people think the national park system was America's best idea. Now, obviously, we don't have time to visit all 62 of them, but today I'm going to introduce you to the top 25. These are considered the most popular and the most visited. Keep in mind, almost all of these state parks were used, or national parks, sorry, were used as settings for several movies, such as Star Wars, Star Trek, E.T., The Hunger Games, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and many more. See if you can guess which ones. And be sure to take notes so you can plan your next real vacation. Coming in at number 25, you should recognize this national park, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri. This was completed in October 1965, making it 55 years old. It was formerly known as the Jefferson National Expansion Memorial, and it commemorates the westward expansion of pioneers and explorers, commonly referred to as the Gateway to the West. Up at the top, there's an observation deck, where on a clear day, you can see 30 miles in either direction. Down below, there's a very interesting museum and, of course, beautiful reflecting pools at the base. The arch is 630 feet tall and it's 630 feet wide and completely made of steel. Of course, lots of movies and television shows have used the arch in some scenes. For instance, White Palace, Gone Girl, and of course, National Lampoon's Vacation. At number 24, we take an 8-hour drive to the northeast, and we come to Cuyahoga Valley National Park in Ohio. The word Cuyahoga means crooked river in Mohawk, and the river feeds into Lake Erie. This park was established in 1974 by President Gerald Ford. It covers 33,000 acres, and it is known primarily for its 125 hiking trails. For those of you that like trains, it even offers a scenic railroad ride through the valley. The most popular attraction is Brandywine Falls, which you're looking at in the picture. Another popular place to visit is Beaver Marsh. This park contains a variety of mammals, reptiles, birds, and has over 900 different plant species. At number 23 is Everglades National Park in Florida, located at the southern tip of the peninsula. It's often referred to as a swamp, but actually it's a slow-moving river. It was established in 1947 as the largest wetland in North America, and this park is considered extremely valuable. You see, believe it or not, it supplies 8 million people in Florida with fresh water every day. Don't go swimming here though. It has sawgrass, and sawgrass is like little razors that can cut your clothing as well as your skin. This park is home to numerous endangered species like the Florida panther, as well as alligators and crocodiles, of course. Now, to get a really good tour of the Everglades, I would highly recommend an airboat ride. Several movies that were filmed here were Red, Rampage, and of course the classic Flipper. Then you have some television shows as well. You might remember CSI Miami and Miami Vice. Just a few hours south of here, Missouri, you'll find Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas. This was established in 1921, and it represents the oldest protected area in the entire national park system. It covers 5,500 acres, and it's centered on 47 thermal springs with an average temperature of 142 degrees. Many people visit the park because of its healing properties of the springs. And it is the most accessible national park of all of them because it includes portions of the downtown area, which has lots of shops, diners, hotels, and other attractions. And of course, don't forget the infamous Bathhouse Row. This park is often referred to as the Great American Spa. Number 21 is Shenandoah National Park in Virginia. Shenandoah is located in the Blue Ridge Mountains and it spans over 200,000 acres. It was established in 1935 by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It was once all farmland and the location of numerous historic cemeteries, which had to be moved. As a result of that, many people believe this national park is haunted. It has over 500 miles of hiking trails, and parts of the old Appalachian Trail are located in the park as well. This was once the location of President Herbert Hoover's favorite summer retreat during the Great Depression of the 1930s. Do you happen to remember the movie Evan Almighty? Well, this is the park where he built his ark. Number 20 is Capitol Reef National Park in Utah. The area was originally called Wayne Wonderland, and that's because it's located in Wayne County. The white rock formations are similar to the American State Capitol building, thus the name Capitol Reef. The term reef, of course, is used because it refers to the rocky land barrier. The park opened to the public in 1950, and it covers about 250,000 acres. You will also notice, if you visit, all the numerous fruit orchards, and they were planted by the Mormon pioneers in the 1850s. Of course, there are lots of hiking trails and some very unusual wildlife as well, including wood rats and lots of bats. How about Mount Rainier National Park in the state of Washington? It is number 19 on the list. Last erupting in 1894, Mount Rainier is a volcano that's located about 54 miles from Seattle. It is part of the Cascade Mountain Range, so it's over 14,000 feet tall, and it has approximately 26 glaciers. It became a national park in 1899, making it the 5th national park in the United States at the time. It covers about 236 acres. There are 6 Native American tribes that share a very deep history with the area. It is primarily famous for its valleys of wildflowers, like you see in the picture, the numerous waterfalls, and of course, hundreds of hiking trails. There are over 280 different species of wildlife found here, and this is the park that is the most popular destination for adventurous mountain climbers. Well, we have to get on a plane and fly to this national park. This is HALEAKALA, Hawaii National Park, located in Maui. It became a national park in 1961. It covers 33,000 acres. The word HALEAKALA means house of the sun. Now, according to Hawaiian legend, a demigod imprisoned the sun here in order to make the days longer. This is actually a dormant volcano. However, recent activity indicates that it will erupt in the future sometime, maybe sooner than later. More endangered species are located in this park than in any other national park. This happens to be a popular destination for amateur astronomers who like to look at the stars and the constellations. And as a result of that, they have built numerous observatories throughout the park. Back here in Utah, we find Zion National Park coming in at number 17. This particular park was established in 1919. It covers 148,000 acres. It was actually a national monument before it was a national park. There are many, many unusual rock formations and arches located here. Probably Colib Arch is the most famous of all. The deep canyon that you're looking at in the picture, it seems to be the most popular attraction in the park. It happens to be the site of numerous archaeological digs, and it was the favored location for the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Several other movies you may be familiar with that were filmed here are Jewel of the Nile and Romancing the Stone. This park has a 1.1 mile tunnel carved through the cliffs that you can actually drive your car through, which is pretty cool. And then the 2,000-foot sandstone cliffs on either side are considered a climber's paradise. All the way to the northeast part of the country, we find Acadia National Park in Maine. It's one of the smaller national parks. It only has a total of 42,000 acres, but it encompasses most of Mount Desert Island and several smaller islands as well. This park was established in 1916 by President Wilson during World War I. It is the location of the Cadillac Mountain Range, which is the first place to see the sunrise every single morning. John D. Rockefeller constructed some of the very first carriage roads here, many of which were later converted into the 126 miles of hiking trails. 2 suspense thriller movies was filmed in this particular national park. You all remember Shutter Island? And what about Pet Sematary, Stephen King's famous story? Came out in 1989. Now, because of the diversity here, this park has it all. Mountains, oceans, woodlands, wetlands, you name it, you'll find it here. Back across the ocean we go to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. This is a 324,000 acre park located on the mainland of Hawaii. It is the home to 2 active volcanoes, some very rare plants and animal life, as well as an unusually beautiful landscape. It became popular with tourists back in the 1840s, but it didn't actually become a national park until 1916. This was the first national park in the entire country to be established in a territory and not a state. Now listen to this. The molten footprints of all of those people killed in the 1790 eruption of Mount Mauna Loa, they're still there, and they can be seen by visitors to this national park. You might recall seeing this park on the popular television show Amazing Race. It was featured several times, actually. At number 14, we have the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee. This is actually one of the largest protected areas in the eastern part of the United States, and it covers over 520,000 acres. It is actually the most visited national park of all of them, with 12 million people a year. Geologists have determined that the mountains are one of the oldest mountain ranges in the world. The smoky fog that you see and how the park gets its name is the result of rain and evaporation in the trees. This was once the homeland of the Cherokee Indians, but oddly enough, it was the setting for the movie Last of the Mohicans. There's an abundance of plants, lakes, streams, waterfalls, wildlife, and of course the black bear is the most popular sighting here. Fun activities in the park include fishing, camping, and hiking. Up north we go to Montana, where we'll find Glacier National Park at number 13 in our list. This park covers over 1 million acres of beautiful, inspiring wilderness. It is commonly referred to as the Jewel of the West or the Crown of the Continent. And it happens to be where Lewis and Clark encountered most of the unknown wildlife and plant species during their exploration. Mountain goats are the most important identity of the park. And the mountains here supply water to 3 different bodies: the Pacific Ocean, the Hudson Bay, and the Gulf of Mexico. Visitors can enjoy driving the 50-mile scenic route on the Going to Sun Road. Some movies that were filmed here you might recognize were Forrest Gump, The River Wild, and The Chronicles of Narnia. A little further west, at number 12, we find Olympic National Park in the state of Washington. Established in 1938, this park covers almost 1 million acres. Roosevelt elk, named for Teddy Roosevelt, are the popular animal attraction here. Visitors can even explore Mount Olympus without even having to travel to Greece. It is home to one of the few temperate rainforests in the entire world. The most popular attraction is Hurricane Ridge, which you can see in the background of the photograph. There was a coastal lookout program that was established here during World War II, and down by the coast in the rocky areas, you can still see ancient drawings from years ago. Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming is number 11 on the list. This was established in 1929. It covers over 300,000 acres, and it is one of the most visited parks in the entire country. The Teton Range is the youngest range in the Rocky Mountain system, and the most popular attraction is Jackson Hole. This happens to be where the first known mountain man, John Coulter, lived back in 1808, and it is home to some of the world's speediest wildlife, such as the pronghorn antelope. The favorite activity of this park is snow skiing. If I have any John Wayne fans out there, almost all of his Western movies were filmed here at Grand Teton National Park. Several others that you might recognize are the movie Shane, and more recently, Brokeback Mountain. Number 10 is Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah. This park was named after Scottish immigrant Ebenezer Bryce, who settled here in the 1870s. It is one of the smaller parks, only covers about 55,000 acres, and it opened in 1928. It is famous for hoodoos. The hoodoos are strange rock formations that protrude up from the ground. You can see them in the picture. Another thing you can do at this park that's fascinating is view approximately 7,500 stars on a clear night. The average is only 2,500, so that's quite incredible. Because of the remote location, there are less visitors here. It does have a variety of animals and reptiles, trees, forests, and streams, and the popular activities are camping, hiking, and horseback riding. All the way out to California we go, and we find Joshua Tree National Park coming in at number 9. It is located in the Mojave Desert in the southern part of the state. This park opened in 1994, and it covers about 800,000 acres. It has a variety of rock formations, deserts, mountains, cactus gardens, and it is a favored location of the yucca palm trees. Skull Rock and Keys View are popular locations for avid mountain climbers. This particular park was actually named by the Mormon settlers after the biblical story of Joshua, who lifts his hands to the sky to pray. There are several rock bands that actually used this location for their album cover, such as the Eagles, the Rolling Stones, Bob Dylan, and U2. Back to Utah we go. Arches National Park is number 8. The inspiration for the park's name is the 2,000 sandstone arches located here. It became a national park in 1971, and it covers about 76,000 acres. For hundreds of years, this has been home to the Pueblo Indians. Due to the numerous ancient sand dunes that are found here, it is the location of several important archaeological digs. There's a variety of plants and animals in the park, and the most popular attractions are Courthouse Towers and Devil's Garden Trail. This park has been featured in several Hollywood movies, including Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Thelma and Louise. Number 7 is Rocky Mountain National Park out in Colorado. As one of the largest national parks in the United States, it opened in 1932. The 30-mile-long Continental Divide runs right down the middle of it, and it features the country's highest continuous paved road called the Trail Ridge Road at 12,183 feet in altitude. This park has a variety of wildflowers, bird species, and wild animals, with the main symbol of the park being the bighorn sheep. Years ago, a young teenage boy named Abner Sprague was one of the biggest advocates of the park, and he insisted on being the first person to pay the $3 entrance fee. The Stanley Hotel from the Shining miniseries is located here, and you can even stay here all night if you'd like. It is considered haunted though. I'll just give you an advance warning. And of course, Estes Park, which is in Rocky Mountain National Park, is one of the most popular destinations in America, with lots and lots of activities for everyone. Number 6, Badlands National Park, South Dakota. This area was originally used by the Sioux Indians as hunting grounds several hundred years ago. It opened to the public in 1978, and it covers approximately 243,000 acres. It was named the Badlands because the land is bad. The land is bad for lots of things, bad for farming, bad for travel, you name it. During World War II, the military actually used the area to test a variety of different artillery. There are lots of different wildflowers that grow here, believe it or not, but absolutely no trees. One of the most endangered species in the park is the black-footed ferret, but it is home to a variety of other wildlife, birds, and snakes. The most famous movie ever filmed here was Dances with Wolves, starring Kevin Costner. Death Valley National Park, located in Nevada, comes in at number 5. This is the largest national park south of Alaska, with over 3 million acres altogether. It was established back in 1994. It is located in the Mojave Desert, and it's actually considered a wasteland because it is the driest place in the country, receiving only 2 inches of rainfall a year. It also happens to be the lowest place in the country. Badwater Basin is located here, which is 300 feet below sea level. This park was named by the 49ers, who went out west searching for gold, and they called it Death Valley because they experienced such hunger and thirst as they passed through it, and many people died as well. Despite its hot and dry climate, though, it has a unique, diverse amount of plants and animals. Another thing passing through this park is the infamous Route 66. This park became the most popular location for all of the Star Wars movies. Number 4 is Sequoia National Park in California. As one of the oldest national parks, it was originally established in 1890, and that was to protect the trees from the logging industry at the time. This park covers over 400,000 acres, and it's home to the world's largest tree, called the General Sherman. The General Sherman is a sequoia that stands 280 feet tall. The first inhabitants of the area were the Monache Indians, who unfortunately were forced out due to the smallpox epidemic introduced by the white man. Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in the country, is located here, and it rises 14,400 505 feet in elevation. The majority of this park is only accessible by foot or on horseback. There is a large variety of wildlife, birds, fish, and plants that can be found throughout the park. Number 3 on the list is Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. This is the world's very first national park. It was established back in 1872 by Teddy Roosevelt. It covers over 2 million acres, including parts of Montana and Idaho. As a matter of fact, it is larger than the states of Rhode Island and Delaware combined. This park has over 200 waterfalls and 300 active geysers, with Old Faithful being the most popular attraction of all. There are over 1,000 miles of hiking trails, including 15 miles of scenic boardwalk. This is considered one of Teddy Roosevelt's favorite projects and favorite places to visit. Because of its popularity, there are approximately 6 million visitors who come here every year. Now, I'm sure that most of you have probably heard of the popular television series Yellowstone. It wasn't filmed here. It's never been filmed here, oddly enough. As a matter of fact, the series Yellowstone, starring Kevin Costner, is primarily filmed in Montana and Utah, not Wyoming at all. Number 2 is Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona. With over 1 million acres, it officially became a national park in 1919. Not surprising, it is one of the most visited places in the entire world, and many people consider it to be one of the 7 wonders of the world. Measuring 280 miles long and 18 miles across, it is larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. Ironically, the canyon can create its own weather, and that's due to the steep changes in elevation throughout the canyon. The remote village at the very bottom of the canyon is occupied by the Havasu Indians, and it's only accessible by mule or by foot. The Colorado River flows through the canyon, as you can see it in the photograph. Don't fish though. There aren't a lot of fish in the river, oddly enough. They do have rafting adventures, and not only are the rafting adventures fun, but they lift you out of the canyon in a helicopter. I actually did this when I was 12 years old, and it was the best experience of my life, and I'm sure it still is. Lots of movies have been filmed at the Grand Canyon: Into the Wild, National Lampoon's Vacation, Fools Rush In, and many, many more. All right, we're down to the number 1 national park in the entire United States. Is anyone going to take a guess? And it is Yosemite National Park, California, covering 760 acres. It became a national park in 1890. There are numerous waterfalls, lakes, valleys, and mountains, and it is revered as the birthplace of rock climbing as a sport. The Buffalo Soldiers of the Army were the very first protectors of the park back in 1899. Many of the granite rock formations that you see, they glow like fire at sunset. And this happens to be the only place in the world where you can see a rainbow at night. This is also the only national park to bid to host the Winter Olympics. That was back in 1932. It is home to more than 400 different species of animals, and this is where Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, was filmed. Naturalist John Muir once said, "No temple made with human hands could dare compete with Yosemite National Park." And I'd have to agree. That concludes our virtual tour of the top 25 national parks here in the United States. Let's hope it won't be too long before we can dust off the luggage and pack for a real vacation to one or more of these beautiful parks. In the meantime, There are a variety of other ways you can bring the wonder of our national parks into your home, from family-friendly activities and movies to an immersive audio experience. Just visit www.nationalparks.org. Thanks again for tuning in this week, and until next time, happy trails!